Hari Om all. We are ready to begin with this evening's satsang. Let's do the preliminaries. Sprinkle water all around. Om apavitraha pavitro va sarvavasthang gatopi va yah smaret pundarikaksham sabhahyabhyantaraha suchi. Sip water from the palm of the right hand 3 times. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Rinse your hands. Om Hrishikeshaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Madhusudanaya Namaha. Put on the goose ring on the ring finger of the right hand. Om Pavitre Stho Vaishnavyo Saviturva Prasva Punam Nipsidrena Pavitrena Surya Sarashmabhi Tasya Te Pavitrapati Pavitra Putasya Yat Kama Pune Tachakeyam. Apply a chandan tika to your forehead using your thumb of the right hand. Om Chandanam Bandute Nityam Pavitram Papanasanam Apadam Harite Nityam Lakshmir Vasiti Sarvada. Okay, we'll do Pratna, Ved mantras. Om. 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 Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murtihi, Puja Moolam Guru Padam, Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam, Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. Om Swastina Indro Vridashtravaha, Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha, Swastina Stariksho Arishtanemihi, Swastino Vrihaspatir Dadhatu. Om Payah Prithivyam Payah Oshathishu Payo Divyantarikshe Payodhaha Payasvatihi Pradishah Santu Mahyam. Om Vishnu Ratamasi Vishnu नप्त्रेस्थो विष्णुः स्यूरसि विष्णोर्ध्रुवसि वैष्णवमसि विष्णुवित्वा ओम अग्निर्देवता वातो देवता सूर्यो देवता चंद्रमा देवता वसवो देवता रुद्रा देवता दित्या देवता मरुतो देवता विश्वे देवा देवता बृहस्पतिर्देवतेन्द्र देवता वरुणो देवता ओम द्योः शांतिरंतरिक्षगुं शांति पृथिवी शांतिरापः शांतिरोषधयः शांति वनस्पतयः शांतिर्विश्वे देवाः शांतिर्ब्रह्म शांति सर्वगुण शांति शांतिरेव शांति सामा शांतिरेधि ओम विश्वानि देव सवितर्दुरितानि परासुव तद्भद्रं तन्न आसुव सुशांतिर्भवतु। ओम आनो भद्रः क्रतवो यन्तु विश्वतो स्तब्धासु अपरितासु उद्भिदः देवानो यथा सदमिद्वृधे असन्न प्रायुवो रक्षितारो दिवे दिवे ओम देवानां भद्र सुमतिर्यजूयतान् देवान् गुङ्रातिरभिनो निवर्ततां देवानां सख्यम् उपसेदिमा वयं देवान् आयुः प्रतिरन्तु जीवसे ओम तान् पूर्वया निविदाहुमहे वयं भगं मित्रम् अदितिं दक्षमस्त्रिधम् अर्यमनं वरुणगं सोममश्विनः सरस्वती नः सुभगामयस्करत् ओम तन्नो वातो मयो भुवातु भेषजन्तन्माता पृथिवी तत्पिता द्योः तद्ग्रावानः सोमसुतो मयो भुवस्तदश्विना श्नुतन्धिष्ण्यायुवम् ओम तमीशानं जगतस्तस्तुषस्पतिं धियन् जिन्वमवसे हूमहे वयम् पूषानो यथा वेद साम सद्वृधे रक्षिता पायुर्दब्धः स्वस्तये ओम स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृदश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्योररिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम पृषदश्वा मरुतः पृश्निमातरः शुभं यावानो विदथेषु जग्मयः अग्निजिह्वा मनवः सूरचक्षसो विश्वेनो देवा अवसागमन्निः ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवा भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्रः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्ट्वा वंशस्तनुभिर्व्यशेमहि देवहितं यदायुः ओम शतमिन्नु शरदो अन्तिदेवा यत्रानश्चक्र जरसन्तनूनां पुत्रासो यत्र पितरो भवन्ति मानो मद्यारि ऋषितार्युर्गन्तोः ओम अदितिर्द्योर अदितिरन्तरिक्षम् अदितिर्माता स पिता स पुत्रः विश्वे देवा अदितिः पंचजना अदितिर्जातम् अदितिर्जनित्वम् ओम ऋचं वाचं प्रपद्ये मनोयजु प्रपद्ये साम प्राणं प्रपद्ये चक्षुः श्रोत्रं प्रपद्ये पागोजः सहोजो मयि प्राणपानौ ओम तम पत्नीभिरनुगच्छेम देवः पुत्रैर्भ्रातृवित् वा हिरण्यः नाकं गृभनानः सुकृतस्य लोके तृतीये पृष्ठे अधिरोचने दिवः ओम आयुष्यं वर्चस्य गुंराय स्पोषमुद्भिदम् इदग्वं हिरण्यं वर्चस्वजयराय विशतातु माम् ओम द्योः शांतिरंतरिक्षगुं शांतिः पृथिवी शांतिरापः शांतिरोषधयः शांतिः वनस्पतयः शांतिर्विश्वे देवाः शांतिर्ब्रह्म शांतिः सर्वगुण शांतिः शांतिरेव शांति सामा शांतिरेधि। ओम यतो यतः समीहसे ततो नो अभयं कुरु। शन्नः कुरु प्रजाभ्यो भयन्न पशुभ्य। ओम शांति शांति सुशांतिर्भवतु। ओम हे हे रंब त्वमे हि अंबिका त्र्यंबकात्मज सिद्धि बुद्धि पत्यत्र्यक्ष लक्ष लाभ पितुः पितः। नागास्य नागहारत्वं गणराजा चतुर्भुज भूषितः स्वायुधैर्दिव्यै पाशाङ्कुश परश्वधैः। आवाहयामि पूजार्थं रक्षार्थं च मम कृतः। यहाँ गत्य गृहान् त्वं पूजां क्रतुं च रक्ष मे। ओम मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयुक्तमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये। अंजनीगर्भसम्भूतं कपीन्द्रं सचिवोत्तमं रामप्रियं नमस्तुभ्यं हनुमान रक्ष सर्वदा। ओम ध्यायेदाजानुबाहुं धृतशरधनुषं बद्धपद्मासनस्थं पीतं वासोवसानं नवकमलदलस्पर्धिनेत्रं प्रसन्नं वामाङ्कारूढ सीतामुखकमलमिललोचनं नीरदाभं नाना अलङ्कारदीप्तं दधतं मृच्छटमण्डलं रामचन्द्रम्। ओम यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैर्गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थितः तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगण देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम वसुदेव सुतं देव कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। ओम शान्तं पद्मासनस्थं शशधरमुकुटं पंचवक्त्रं त्रिनेत्रं शूलं वज्रं च खड्गं परुषम् अभयदं दक्षिणाङ्गे वहन्तं नागपाशं च घण्टां डमरुकसहितं अंकुशं वामभागे नाना अलङ्कारदीप्तं स्फटिकमणिनिभं पार्वतीशं नमामि। ओम या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्मा अच्युत शंकर प्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापः। ओम लक्ष्मी क्षीर समुद्र राजतनयां श्रीरंगधामेश्वरीं दासीभूत समस्त देव वनितां लोकैक दीपांकुरां श्रीमन्मन्द कटाक्ष लब्ध विभव ब्रह्मेन्द्र गंगाधरान् तान्त्रे लोक्य कुटुंबिनीं सरसिजां वंदे मुकुंद प्रियाम्। ओम सीताराम पवन सुत हनुमान राधे कृष्ण की जय। Now we'll have Chalisa and bhajans now.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुखर सुधार बरनो रघुबर बिमल जसो जो दायक फल चार बुद्धिहीन तनु जान के सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहे कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बलधामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमत निवार सुमत के संगी। कंचन बरन विराज सुबेशा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केशा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे, कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियाहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाई संजीवन लखन जियाई, श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाई। रघुपति की भी बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई। सहस वदन तुम्हरो यश गावे, अस कहि श्रीपत कंठ लगावे। संकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद शारद सहित अहिंसा। यम कुबेर दिगपाल जाते, कवि कोविद कहि सके कहते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीना, राम मिलाए राजपद दीना। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। युग सहस्त्र जो जन पर भानु, लीलोताहि मधुर पल जानु। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेली मुख माई, जल्दी लांगी गए अचरज नाई। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे। सब सुख लही तुम्हारी शरणा, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज समारो आपे, तीनों लोक हाकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नाशे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन कर वचन ध्यान जोड़ावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अस्त सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुपतिपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्त न धरहि, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करहि। संकट हरे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। यह शत बार पाठ कर जोई, छूटे ही बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सीधी साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जयनाथ हृदय महादेरा। की जयनाथ हृदय महादेरा, की जयनाथ हृदय महादेरा। पवन तने संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति राम लखन सीता सहित। हृदय बसो सुरभूमि। ऐसी लागी लगन, ऐसी लागी लगन। ऐसी लागी लगन। ऐसी लागी लगन, मेरा हो गई मगन। ऐसी लागी लगन, मेरा हो गई मगन। वो तो गली गली हरी गुन गाने लगी। महलों में पली बन के जोगन चली, महलों में पली बन के जोगन चली। मेरा रानी दीवानी कहानी लगी। ऐसी लागी लगन, मेरा हो गई मगन। कोई रोके नहीं, कोई टोके नहीं। मेरा गोविंद गोपाल गाने लगी। कोई रोके नहीं, कोई टोके नहीं, मीरा गोविंद गोपाल गाने लगी। बैठी संतों के संग रंगी मोहन के रंग, मीरा प्रेमी प्रीतम को मनाने लगी। वो तो गली गली हरि गुन गाने लगी। ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन, ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन। वो तो गली गली हरि गुन गाने लगी। महलों में पली बन के जोगन चली, मीरा रानी दीवानी गाने लगी। ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन, ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन। राधा ने विष दिया मानो अमृत पिया, मीरा सागर में सरिता समाने लगी। राधा ने विष दिया मानो अमृत पिया, मीरा सागर में सरिता समाने लगी। दुख लाखों सहे मुख से गोविंद कहे, मीरा गोविंद गोपाल गाने लगी। वो तो गली गली हरि गुन गाने लगी। ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन, ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन। वो तो गली गली हरि गुन गाने लगी। महलों में पली बन के जोगन चली, मीरा रानी दीवानी कहाने लगी। ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन, ऐसी लागी लगन, ऐसी लागी लगन, ऐसी लागी लगन मीरा हो गई मगन।
Hari Om again. We are doing Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 18. Karmanya karma yaha pashed, karmani cha karma cha yaha, sa buddhiman manusheshu, sa yukta krishna karma krit, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Let's read that again. Karmaniya karma yaha pashyed, akarmani cha karma yaha, sa buddhiman manushyeshu, sa yukta Krishna karma krit, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So let's look at some of the key words here. Karmana. Karmana means action, karmani, and akarma means inaction. So karmanya, akarma, action and inaction. Pashyed, akarmani. Pashyed means who sees. Yaha pashyed, he who sees. Akarmani, cha karmaya. Akarmani means inaction, cha karmaya, inaction. So he who sees action in inaction and inaction in action, sa, he, buddhiman, manushyeshu. He is considered to be intelligent among human beings. Sa yuktaha, and he is a yogi. Yukta. Yukta means he is a yogi who is balanced and in touch with the divine. Krishna karma krit. Krishna karma krit. While he is a yogi, he is still engaged in all activities. karm akrit. He is engaged in all activities. So भगवान कर्म और अकर्म के बारे में बताते हैं और कहता है कि जो पुरुष कर्म में अकर्म देखता है और जो अकर्म में कर्म को देखता है, वो पुरुष मनुष्यों में बुद्धिमान जाना जाता है. So one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction, he is wise among humans. He is united, he is in yoga, he is in a transcendental position. And he is a yogi even though he is engaged in all activities. So this verse tells you that to be a yogi does not mean you must abandon all activities. And it will be explained to you as we're going along now. So that person who sees inaction in action, he knows that although the mind and the senses are involved in the process of action, the self is not involved. So there's a difference between, on the one hand, body, mind, senses, and on the other hand, the Atma, the self. So the Atma or the self is silent in all the activities. Wise men see this truth of activity as well as this truth of silence or inactivity. And such a person has accomplished all action or has fulfilled all his desires, in other words, right? So, see, action is an expression of a desire. Action has its root in desires, right? So, if you want to engage in any action, the cause of that action is some desire. Therefore, to be actionless means we must be desireless, without desire. Right? If we want to be actionless, then we must not have desire. But actionless does not mean not acting. Actionless does not mean not acting. It means acting without desire. So, all action has some result, whether you desire it or you do not desire it. The result is there. If there is action, there must be consequence for that action. Okay? So, why should we taint the action by having desire? When you know if you engage in that action, result is automatic. So there is no need for desire for action to take place, although we have become accustomed to that. So the question is, why should we ask for something when you know it is going to come automatically when you do a particular activity? You don't have to ask. It will come automatically. So if you, for example, if you want to wet your hands, you know that putting your hand into water will cause it to get wet. Do you have now to have a desire that I want to wet my hands? I need to wet my hands. No. Putting your hand in water automatically means it will get wet. Whether you want it to get wet or you do not want it to get wet, it will get wet by the very fact that you are putting your hand in water. So we must perform all our action from this state of desirelessness. We must perform all our action because it is a duty. And we must surrender all action to Bhagwan. So remember, this is the message being given to us by Arjun. The circumstance that Arjun finds himself in is that he is concerned about, he has a desire for the welfare of his relatives. And Bhagwan is saying, no need for desire, do your duty. How should you do your duty? As an act of surrender to Bhagwan. Okay? So, action, therefore, for action to purify us, it needs to be from a state of detachment. So, any right action done with a feeling of devotion, with a feeling of dedication, and with a sense of divine love, okay? That kind of action will create this detachment. I'm going to repeat that. Any right action that we do out of devotion to Bhagwan, out of dedication, and out of divine love from a sense of duty, that will create this detachment in us. So this Atma becomes like a disinterested observer. Anybody who acts like that, he's just doing it because it has to be done. It is his duty to do it. He's doing it out of love to Bhagwan. He is dedicated to Bhagwan and he is devoted to Bhagwan. Therefore, he is only an observer to the action. So, this inaction that we are talking about, remember that a person sitting quietly is not necessarily idle. It does not mean he is not active. See, intense thinking may indicate physical inactivity. When somebody is sitting and thinking intensely, you may think he is inactive. But it could also be very creative thinking. So, if you take a manager sitting quietly, does not mean he's not doing anything. Or, for that matter, if you take a politician who is being very silent, although this is rare for a politician to be silent, but if he is very silent, both this manager and this politician, in their silence, may be busy, very busy, planning strategies. Okay? So they are not inactive, they are active. This quiet time may actually be the mind functioning at a very high rate. The mind is still functioning. So we need to detach ourselves and observe ourselves in the field of activity. So this will give us the ability to see whatever activity we are doing in a discriminating manner. And we will then realize whether we should continue with that activity or not. So we need to separate the self from the activity and let the body and the mind and the senses engage in activity. So just to explain this relationship between the self and the activity here. See, when a car is moving, although the fuel is in the car, the fuel is, you do not say the fuel is moving. You say the car is moving. Isn't that so? Just like how if a person is sitting in the car and is traveling, you don't say that he is moving, you say the car is moving. So here, this fuel is in the car, but it is the car that is moving. If you take a fridge, when a fridge is cooling the foods that are kept in it, right? It is not the electricity that is cooling. The fridge is doing the cooling. But without the fuel, that car cannot move. And without the electricity, that fridge cannot cool. So neither the car nor the fridge, which are material objects here, neither can work without its fuel. In the case of the car, it will be petrol or diesel, and now perhaps electricity as well. And in the case of the fridge, it would probably be gas or electricity. Similarly, the body and the mind act, but not the self. The self must not be involved in the activity. So I want to read a little extract relating to this by Swami Vivekananda. He says, the ideal man is he who in the midst of the greatest silence and solitude finds the intensest activity. And in the midst of the intensest activity, he finds the silence and solitude of the desert. He has learned the secret of restraint. He has controlled himself. He goes through the streets of a big city with all its traffic, and his mind is as calm as if it were in a cave where not a sound could reach him. And he is intensely working all the time. That is the ideal of karma yoga. And if you have attained to that, you have really learned the secret of work. So we conclude that here now. And in summary, desireless activities are required to purify us and give us the ability to be observers of all the activity that we engage in a devoted and dutiful manner. Jai Shri Krishna. We're now going to go on to the Ramayana. We are reading today Balkand, Doha number 188. But let's do the invocation first. Jehi sumirat siddhi hoy sitaram gananayak karivar badana karo anugrah soy sitaram buddhi rasi subgun sadana mukha hoy vachal sitaram pangu chadhai girivar gahana Jasu kripa sudayal sitaram drabo sakal kalimal dahana Neel saroru sham sitaram tarun arun barij nayana Karau sumam uradham sitaram sada chir sagar sayana Kund Indu Samadeh Sitaram Umaraman Karuna Ayana Jahidin Paraneh Sitaram Karo Kripa Mardan Mayana Bando Guru Padakanj Sitaram Kripa Sindhunar Rupa Hari Mahamohatam Punj Sitaram Jasu vachan ravi kar nikar Siyavar Ramchandra ki jai Pavan sut Hanuman ki jai Umapati Mahadev ki jai Katha arambha hot hai Suno veer Hanuman Asan ko Prabhu aiye Siya sakha sahit Bhagwan सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय. तो बालकांड दोहा 188. कौसल्यादि नारी प्रिय सब आचरण पुनीत पति अनुकूल प्रेम दृढ़ हरिपद कमल बिनीत सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय. राम सिया राम जय जय राम। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। एक बार भूपति मन माही, भय गलानि मोरे सुत नाही। गुरु गृह गयऊ तुरत महिपाला, चरण लागी करी विनय विशाला। निज दस मुख निज दुख सुख सब गुरहि सुनायऊ, कहि वशिष्ठ बहु विधि समुझायऊ। हरहु धीर होई हहि सुतचारी, त्रिभुवन विदित भगत भयहारी। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। श्रृंगी ऋषि वशिष्ठ बुलावा, पुत्र काम शुभ यज्ञ करावा। भक्ति सहित मुनि आहुति दीन है, प्रगट अग्नि चरु कर लीन है। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। जो वशिष्ठ कछु हृदय विचारा, सकल काजु भा सिद्ध तुम्हारा। यह विपाटी देहु नृप जाई, जथा जोग जेहि भाग बनाई। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। राम सिया राम जय जय राम। तब अदृश्य भये पावक, सकल सभई समुझाई। परमानंद मगन नृप, हर्ष न हृदय समाई। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। तो कौशल्या आदि नारी प्रिय सब आचरण पुनीत. So Kausalya and the other queens of Raja Dashrath सभी पवित्र आचरण वाली थी. They were all virtuous in their conduct. They engaged in activities that was all sanctioned by scripture. वो पुनीत थी. They were pure. So क्या कहते थे? विनीत और पति के अनुकूल चलने वाली थी और श्री हरि के चरण कमलों में उनका दृढ़ प्रेम था. So they were humble and they always followed the direction given to them by their husbands. So let me just explain this before people get the wrong impression that the husband asked them to do the wrong things. The husbands could not have asked them to do the wrong things because just before this we read, he was sab acharan punit. They were virtuous in the conduct. So if anybody gives you good advice, gives you good direction, then it is appropriate. Uske anukul chalo. You must walk according to that direction. You must act according to that direction. So even if in this case, one of the queens, Kaushalya or somebody, gave good advice to Raja Dashrath, then he too must walk according to that advice, must act according to that advice. और श्री हरि के चरण कमलों में उनका दृढ़ प्रेम था. Why else were they considered to be puneet? Because they had drid prem, strong, fixed and unshakable love to who? Sri Hari, to Bhagwan. तो एक बार भूपति मन माही. Once the king, Raja Dashrath, in his mind, he became a bit depressed, sorrowful and sad. उसके राजा के मन में बड़ी ग्लानि हुई. क्यों? कि मेरे पुत्र नहीं है. He was sad because he had no children, no sons. Or because of this sadness and his depressive state, what did he do? So this tells you also, when you are in a sad state, when you feel you are getting into depression, what must we do? It says, Guru Griha Gayau Turat Mahipala. Guru Griha Gayau. He went to the house of his Guru. When did he go? Turat. Turat means immediately, Turant. So the moment he recognized that there was some depression in his mind, that he was a bit sad, he immediately went to his Guru. Now remember, he is a Mahipala. Mahipala means the one who protects the world, the earth, as a king. That was who he was. So he was very powerful. But he went to the Guru's house, and he went immediately. Charan lagi kari binaya bisala. And what did he do when he went there? Charano mein pranam kar bahut vinay ki. Very humbly, he fell at the feet of his Guru. So if you desire some information, if you need something from somebody, you need to humble yourself. And that's what Raja Dashrath did. He went immediately to his Guru. Obviously, the Guru must be one who deserves to be called a Guru. Okay? तो राजा ने अपना सारा सुख दुख गुरु को सुनाया. निज दुख सुख सब गुरु ही सुनाया. He explained all his, not only his difficulties, not only dukh, sukh, dukh, everything. He explained to his Guru. So if you want advice from somebody, you must be open and transparent and present all the information. Then that person, based on the information that he receives, can give you advice. Okay? So you don't go to your Guru or to your priest and say, you know what, I want to do my husband's shraddh, but my husband's mother also wants to do it. And you don't tell us that you have a fallout. You are saying to me or to the Guru, you need to phone the husband's mother and tell her not to do it. Now that is not presenting all the information. You must present all the information. Later on you find out that this lady has a court case against the mother. So that's not how you seek advice. You must be open and transparent and give all the information. So what did his Guru Vashisht do? Guru Vashisht ji ने उन्हें बहुत प्रकार से समझाया. धीरज धरो. So he put him at ease. He explained to him nicely in many ways and calmed him down. So see, the first thing is to get him out of the state of depression, the sadness, the sorrow that he's experiencing. And that's what Guruji did. Vashisht ji did exactly that. And he says, तुम्हारे 4 पुत्र होंगे जो तीनों लोक में प्रसिद्ध और भक्तों के भय को हरने वाले होंगे. That you will get 4 sons who will be world renowned, and they will remove the fear of devotees from devotees, right? So see, when somebody is in difficulty and they come to you for advice, we must not make the difficulty worse by frightening them. See, Guru Vasishtha calmed him down and gave him good information, lifted his spirits a bit, right? And then it says, Shringi Rishi hi Vasishtha Bolawa. Vasishtha ji ne, he called Shringi Rishi, who was an expert in the puja that was supposed to be done. और उनसे शुभ पुत्र काम एष्टि यज्ञ कराया. He made him do a special yajna relating to conception, to get children. So, see, we need to understand this as well. There was a special yajna performed to conceive children. And we have similar procedures in our sanskaras, one is of which is called the Garbhadhan sanskar. So before we conceive children, husband and wife should engage in puja, in yajna. That is what is being prescribed here. And when you do things in that fashion, then the chances of getting good children is even greater. Yeah, then it says, then Bhagati Sahitya Muni Ahuti Din hai, Pragate Agni Charu Karalin hai. So when Shringi Rishi did the Havan, the Yajna, he made ahutis, offered ahutis into the fire. Pragate Agni Charu Karalin hai. Then Agni Dev himself manifested from that fire. So Agni Dev took on a form and Charu Karalin hai. In his hand he had charu. Charu is sweet food or kheer, right? And he says, Jo Vasishtha ka chuhite vichara, sakala ka jubha siddha tumhara. He says, whatever Vasishtha ji has thought about, all of that will come true. Whatever he said to you will materialize. It will become a reality, right? Tum jaakar is havishya anna ya payas ko, जिसको जैसा उचित हो वैसा भाग बनाकर बांट दो. So he says, you take this kheer, payas, and give it to those as it is appropriate, what you consider to be appropriate. So he knew that there were 3 wives, 3 queens, and therefore he says you must distribute it appropriately as you see fit. What does it mean by this? Does it mean that perhaps Raja Dashrath had a favorite queen or any such thing? I don't think so. I would guess that he means whoever is best qualified to bring particular types of children into the world, share it with them. In other words, it must not be shared outside of marriage, only within the bounds of marriage. Tad antar Agni Dev Sari Sabha ko samjhakar antardhan ko kiya. And then Agni Dev explained all of this to all those who were assembled there, and he went back, disappeared. Aur Raja Param Anand mein magno ho gaye. And Raja Dashrath was extremely pleased. So we began this chaupai by saying, Ek baar bhupati manamahi bhai galani, that he was depressed. And we ended the chaupai by saying, Raja Paramanand mein magno ho gaye. And what happened in between? The Guru's advice was followed. So can you see how when you seek proper advice, you can take yourself from a state of depression to an elevated state of joy and anand. And that is what has happened to Raja Dashrath. We conclude here. Katha visarjan hote hai, suno veer Hanuman, आसन को प्रभु चाहिए, सिया सखा सहित भगवान सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय. Bhajans now.
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु सोने में सोया मैं, बेशुद्ध रातों में तब ध्यान किया मैंने तेरा, टकराया पग से जब पत्थर, मैं तेरा द्वार न ढूंढ सका मैं, भटक रहा हूँ डगर डगर, वो फूल अब तक चुन पाया, जो फूल चढ़ाने हैं तुझ पर, वो फूल अब तक चुन पाया, जो फूल चढ़ाने हैं तुझ पर। जगदीश हरे, स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे, भक्त जनों के संकट, दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ध्यावे फल पावे, दुख बिन से मन का, स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का, सुख संपत्ति घर आवे, सुख संपत्ति घर आवे, कष्ट मिटे तन का। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। मात पिता तुम मेरे, शरण गहूँ किसकी, स्वामी शरण गहूँ मैं किसकी, तुम बिन और न दूजा, प्रभु बिन और न दूजा, आश करूँ जिसकी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम पूर्ण परमात्मा, तुम अंतर्यामी, स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी, पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर, पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर, तुम सबके स्वामी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम करुणा के सागर, तुम पालन करता, स्वामी तुम पालन करता। मैं मूरख कल कामी, मैं सेवक तुम स्वामी, कृपा करो धरता। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम हो एक अगोचर, सबके प्राणपति, स्वामी सबके प्राणपति। किस विध मिलो दया में, किस विध मिलो दया में तुमको मैं कुमति। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे। स्वामी तुम रक्षक मेरे। करुणा हस्त बढ़ाओ, करुणा हस्त बढ़ाओ। द्वार पड़ा में तेरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। विषय विकार मिटाओ, पाप हरो देवा। स्वामी पाप हरो देवा। श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ, श्रद्धा भक्ति बढ़ाओ। संतन की सेवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। प्रेम सभा सब मिलकर निश दिन यही गावो। स्वामी निश दिन यही गावो। पार लगा दो नैया, पार लगा दो नैया। यही अरज गाओ। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे। भक्त जनों के संकट, दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करेंगे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। स्वामी जय जगदीश हरे। माता जय जगदीश हरे।
कर्पूर गौरं करुणावतारं संसार सारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। ओम मंगलम भगवान विष्णु मंगलम गरुडध्वज मंगलम पुंडरीकाक्ष मंगलाय तनोहरि। ओम सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते, नारायणी नमोस्तुते, नारायणी नमोस्तुते। ओम यानि कानि च पापानि जन्मांतरकृतानि च तानि तानि विनश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे। ओम सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मंगलं भवतु। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामय, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम अपराध सहस्राणि क्रियन्ते अहर्निशं मय दासोऽयं मम त्वा क्षमस्व परमेश्वर। आवाहनं न जानामि विसर्जनं पूजां चैव न जानामि क्षमस्व परमेश्वर। अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम, तस्मात् कारुण्य भावेन रक्ष त्वं परमेश्वर। बोलो श्री गणेश भगवान की जय। जगत जननी पार्वती माता की जय। श्री सीता रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री महावीर स्वामी बजरंगबली की जय। श्री राधे कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण भगवान की जय। शिव शंकर भगवान पार्वती माता की जय। गंगा माता की जय। यमुना माता की जय। गौरी माता, काली माता, दुर्गा माता, लक्ष्मी माता, सरस्वती माता की जय। श्री राधा माधव की जय। ओ नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव हर। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे श्याम। जय सिया राम।